Hi everyone! So as some of you may know, I was in Walt Disney World last week for vacation, and so over the next few weeks I'm probably going to do a few videos just sort of reflecting on that experience and giving some people some sort of boots on the ground feedback of what I experienced and what I thought of things. But the first thing I wanted to address in this video today is masks. That's probably the number one complaint I'm hearing from people who are thinking about going, is having to wear the mask all day, everywhere that you go in public areas. I have to say, I was there in the middle of August. It was hot, and the masks really didn't bother me as much as I expected them to. Now, I'm a person who's pretty heat tolerant. Certainly, everyone's different. If my husband had been with me, he would have absolutely hated it. He doesn't really like going that time of year to begin with, and so having to wear that mask on the face all day would have definitely been an issue for him. So it's very individual. I'm going to go through, I brought down a whole bunch of masks with me to try out. I was, trying them out, especially the early few days, swapping them out every few hours to see what worked for me. And I think that's a good approach for people to take, even before you go, which I actually did. I looked foolish walking through my neighborhood by myself with masks, but I did try it out a little bit before I went, to sort of get some feel of which versions did I like when I'm out in the heat, physically, moving, walking, to sort of somewhat simulate the park. But certainly bring a few varieties with you because you never know. And so I'm just going to go through the masks that I brought with me to give you some ideas as to what sort of styles you might look for. But like I said, very individual, so you're going to want to try a few things out. So some of my favorite masks that I've been wearing at home are ones that friends have made for me. Just little homemade varieties, the simple sort of cup shape ones, and then these like accordion shape ones. These have been some of the most comfortable for me when I'm just like going out to the stores. What I actually found was that they weren't very comfortable for me in the parks, mainly because for some of them the fabric is rather thick and heavy, and so that did get hot and uncomfortable. So that's sort of one thing you want to think about, is the material type and what might work for you. And then for these accordion style ones, I love them going to the stores, but what I found was in the parks, after, I think I'd only worn these for like maybe an hour tops at home, if that, probably less than that, because if I'm just running into a store. After a while, these aren't a very tight fit, and so they started to slip down my nose a lot, and naturally, you need to keep your nose covered. You will have cast members reminding you, hey, cover up. So this became a little more annoying when I was wearing them for those long periods of time, especially where you're moving a lot, and so love them at home, but for me, these really didn't, those styles didn't work in the parks. I have this other mask that I got from Etsy, from one of the sellers on Etsy, that I also love at home. It fits my face. It's a little smaller because I have a small face, which is something that I run into trouble with masks, and it fits me nicely. The material's a little bit thick like the other ones, but this particular one breathes a little bit better, so the heat factor wasn't really an issue in the parks. What was an issue was these small tie ear pieces, where it's just sort of the small circle that's a tight elastic. I love these at home for that reason, because it holds the mask on nice and tightly, but after a couple of hours this starts to get a little uncomfortable on your ears. So that's something else to think about, is not just the mask itself, but also the earpieces. I did have a couple of other alternatives, the little ties in the back to hold it together. So those are another option if you want to have those. I personally found that just with also having a hat on and, my ponytail, things got a little busy in the back. And so I didn't really like going with the non-ear loop variety too much. It just seemed like a lot going on back there, and it was a little harder to keep everything in place. But I did like that mask, especially if we were like just popping into the park for a few hours. We stayed at Boardwalk, which is walking distance to Epcot and Hollywood Studios. So we did sometimes like go back to the room to relax and then just go back to the park for a couple of hours. So that mask, especially in the evening, was like really nice, I found. This other mask that I have is like super soft and comfy, but the problem I have with it both at home and in the park was that because it's so flimsy, it doesn't really stay on me very well. And so I actually did use this with the ties behind the head, and then what ended up happening is because it's so soft and flimsy, it like suctioned to my face, and especially being black, got really hot. So this one, another one that's, nice at home because it's soft and pliable, but not the best option in the parks. This would probably be good if you were like going around just around your hotel, just going to wear it for a few hours, and maybe like if you were going to, say, the restaurant in your hotel, and so you were going to take it off when you got there, and you really just needed something quickly for a walk back and forth. I think this would have been good for that. And then my favorite one, a friend of mine actually had recommended this company, and I'll put a link to the company down in the video. I have no affiliation with them at all. I just really liked the masks. It's Company Concepts. And their masks, and I mean, there's a lot of other companies that make similar masks, so you certainly could go with someone else, but it's this like breathable mesh. I don't know how well you can see it. I'll flip to this side so you can see better. But what's great about these and this material was that it's wicking. And so as you're sweating in the heat of the parks, it didn't get like damp and kind of hanging on your face like some of the other masks did. So that's why I really like this. I like this shape, style, whatever you want to call it too, where it kind of poofs out and gives room for your nose. My little nose doesn't like getting smushed. I don't know if anybody's nose does like getting smushed. I don't know, maybe. But anyways, I got two different styles from this company. One was with ties. So the ties, I was actually really nervous going in with the ties because I was concerned, especially on the rides, that they'd come loose and come off. They really didn't. They actually held on better. It still did have that kind of issue, like I was saying, with the clip in the back, of just being busy with the hat and the ponytail. I actually ended up wrapping the strings around my ponytail at sometimes to like give it a little extra hold. But the ties really weren't that more bad. They never came off on any rides or anything. I wore them on roller coasters, no problems. And so I did like this style, but my absolute favorite mask was this style here. It's the same company, same material, that same wicking material, but I really like these ear ties, the ear loops, that are adjustable like this. And so it was great because you put them on, you kind of loop them in, and then you can pull it right off your face. And then you can just sort of tie down to get it to fit to your ears and face size, which is great too, because then like if it starts to come loose as the day goes on, you just give it a little tug and you're back in business. So particularly for people who struggle with like getting the size right for the mask, something with the adjustable ear loops, I found to be really helpful. So I had a few of these masks, and these were definitely my favorite. These are the ones that I was, washing a couple of times throughout the trip to make sure that I still had some available. And that's also what I wore on the airplane. So hopefully that is helpful to you to sort of get that breakdown. I mean, everyone's sort of been wearing masks for a while now, so I'm sure you already have your favorites, but what really was sort of a big thing for me was realizing that masks that I love at home wearing for an hour into stores did not always work well for me in the parks. So you really do want to give it that extra thought of not only what feels good just when I put it on, but can I stay in this for several hours at a time? And can I be out in the heat moving around in this? Those are definitely things to think about. And the other thing, just a general thought on masks, is you're really not in them like I think people are thinking, oh, I'm going to be in this for like 8 to 10 hours. You're really not, because you're going to stop and get something to eat. And so you can take it off when you eat. And the parks are open right now for 10 hours a day. They're reducing their hours come September, so it's going to be even fewer hours. You put one meal in there and you've already broken the day down. And then they have these great relaxation stations that are areas with the tables spaced apart. And so you can go and sit and actually take off the mask for a while. And those were great. They have both indoor and outdoor options. So if you aren't comfortable going in an indoor space and you want to sit outside, you've got that option. If you want to go in to the air conditioning, they have those options as well. And they have both in every park. So really overall, the masks were not as bad as I thought they would be. And I know for a lot of people, that's sort of the main reason not to come. So to me, that wouldn't be a reason not to come. All this being said, absolutely, I know children have a harder time with the masks, and some people have medical conditions that make the masks hard. It's a very individual decision, but overall, if you are an adult who is comfortable wearing the masks out in your daily life, I really don't think they're going to be a big hindrance for you in the parks. The main thing is just to make sure that you get that mask that's right for you. Find the right fit, find the right material, find the right method of securing it, and you can still go out and have a great trip. I did. So hopefully that was helpful to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can leave comments below. You can message me, email me, call me, whatever. And I will talk to you all soon. Have a great day.